All right, what's up, YouTube? So there's been a lot of stuff going back and forth with arc raiders, right? There's been people talking about whether you should, be playing as a team, or you should, people being scumbags and people killing people for no reason. And it's like I have my I guess issues with certain things. I don't even have issues with any of those things. I think all of those things, everything that people are complaining about should be in the game. Like if somebody scumbags you, somebody stabs you in the back, all that stuff needs to be in this game. It should be in this game. People talking about that there should be a PvE only mode should not be a thing. It should not be a thing, not at all. If there is a PvE only mode that gets added to the game, that mode needs to be exceedingly hard, like exceedingly hard. And it's going to need to take like the entire lobby in order to do whatever needs to be done in that PvE mode. It needs to be completely different than what the normal game is, and it can't be for going into and farming regular things, because once you make a separate mode for PvE, let's say for instance you make a mode for PvE that only that will allow people to go in and you can't shoot each other, but you can farm up stuff and you can get items that you need to craft things and all that kind of stuff, and it's kind of similar maps, right? And you can go get all these different things, and it'll be like solo queue is right now, right? It'll be mostly like solo queue is right now, except it will be 100% friendly, right? And you will have no worry about anything really attacking you. All you have to do is dodge the bots, right? But it would have to be way harder than it is to play in the regular mode where there's PvEVP, because the way that people interact with each other would change drastically, because most of the PvE players would leave the regular part of the game to play the PvE only stuff, and then you are left with only the PvP players, right? And they would constantly just kill each other. It would be another team deathmatch style of thing for the most part. It would the amount of friendliness would drastically switch, right? It would be sometimes you find a friendly guy and most of the time you're killing each other, right? That's the way it is in trios. In trios, most of the time people are killing each other. I was playing with my friends the other night, and we came up to a couple of people, and I said on the mic out in the, I was like, "Hey man, what's up?" And then they just opened fire, and it was just like, all right, in trios people are less likely, because they just want to fight. They want to fight. It's like, another team, get them, get their stuff, right? In solos, it's more friendly. Like most of the time you're going to be walking around and people are going to just be chill. Like there's just going to be, the other day, a dude came up to me and just handed me a power rod for no reason. He was like, "Hey man, I found an epic item. You want it?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like on guard, hoping that he wasn't going to like wait for me to go in my inventory and then just blast me and then take my power rod back, right? And then take all the rest of my stuff. But that didn't happen. He just gave it to me. He was like, "All right, man." And then I went my way and he went his. And I was just like, that was random, right? So there's a without having the people that are the wrenches in your plans, like without having the humans that are willing to just kill and take your stuff, the game's spice level drops significantly. PvE would be very boring. Maybe some people would enjoy the PvE mode because they would just go into the PvE mode. They would just shoot all the bots, not really worry about it too much. Just farm up everything they needed, go out, go back in, right? There's games for that, right? But like it would be so boring for the most part. The game would die off because everybody would be in PvE, and a lot of people would be in PvE, and they would just be farming, and then they would just be like, "Ah, man, this game's kind of boring." I wonder why. It didn't. The head of Embark and Embark Studios, when they were playing it as a PvE only game, they were like, the game's not fun enough. So then they add a PvE. If they were to add a PvE only mode, and then what? Like, they go right back to, and then people would be complaining about how the game doesn't feel fun. It doesn't feel as fun in the PvE only. They need to do something to change it to make it more fun. They did. They added PvP. And then the PvP players would be complaining, because you have the people who are way to one side and way to the other. You have the people that are way to the PvE side that are like, hey man, we need PvE modes, or we need a PvE mode because we'll have, options and you can choose what you want to do. No, the player base doesn't need to have a bunch of different options on what to do, right? Like, let's focus on what the game does the best and keep pumping into that, right? The game, right now, it makes you have to make moral decisions. There's not a lot of other games out there that are doing that. You don't make really moral decisions. You kind of, in other extraction shooter games, you see somebody, you kill them, you take their stuff. Most of the time, right? Because they don't really have, there's not really anything as an incentive to keep you working together, right? There are people walking around. I shot a tick near a guy to help him because he was digging in a box, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna shoot that guy. I shot the tick, and the tick was like, "Come on, man, why are we shooting?" And I'm just like, there was a tick right there. I just thought I'd shoot it because it was gonna jump on you. But then I'm just like, it's just mind-boggling to me. It made me want to shoot him. It made me want to shoot him because I'm like, he's just too comfortable. You know what I'm saying? It's like people are sitting in solos and it's too comfortable. It's like you're walking by your neighbors and you're just like, hey neighbor, how you doing? I'm going down to the supermarket. I'll see you later. Right? It's just too comfortable. So then when somebody comes along and they're the villain and they just disrupt everything that's going on in the server, which I'm getting closer and closer to wanting to do that. But then people complain because they're like, oh, these streamers out here, they just want their clips. And it's like, it's because of them, the villain streamers, that the game stays spicy. Because you don't know what's going to happen when you go into a raid, whether it's solo or otherwise. You don't know. But the game feels too comfortable. People be looking too comfortable walking around. And it's like, it's not an MMO where we have a bunch of NPCs to talk to and, this, huge map to walk around and train and level up. And it's just like, it's just too comfortable. So it's almost inviting the villains to come through and just disrupt, to keep people on their toes, to keep them vigilant. You know what I'm saying? That's been my saying for the past couple of days for Arc Raiders, is stay vigilant. Like, you don't have to shoot everybody, but you're gonna have to come up with a set of rules for yourself, like I did, and follow those rules to a T. It's you forming your rules on how you interact with players is going to help you get through the game better. But the thing about it is, without the villains, without turning people evil by killing them and taking their stuff in the game is going to get kind of bland for solo. It's going to get kind of bland for a PvE only mode. You know what I'm saying? Without having some type of thing to just literally disrupt everything. So I want to watch this video. I know I've been yapping for like 10 minutes, right? But I just wanted my parters to get out of here. But I want to watch this, and then we're going. So what my stance is. We're gonna watch this video. This guy right here, Arc Raiders debate is mind-boggling. I watched part of this already, but I want to react to, you know, some of the things that he's talking about in about this game, because he's talking about it, I'm talking about it. There's a lot of other people talking about what this game is doing, and it's not just the gameplay. It's not just the ranked points. It's not just those type of things. And there's another video. There's another video that I'm probably going to react to also that I don't agree with, at least the first couple of things that he said, and I was just like, so that'll be probably the next video I do, and that'll probably be right after this one. So let's get started here.
Hey, it's Drybear, and we need to talk about the human behavior case study that is happening right now.
Human behavior case study,
which is
exactly what it is.
To me, and maybe it's fascinating.
The social experiment.
Arc is a PvEVP, a PvPE kind of game, which means it mixes, you know, versus NPCs and AI with versus players PvP action. And there was a lot of discussions going into the launch of Arc Raiders, going over whether it should be PvE only or it should be PvE
absolutely not
only.
Nope.
Whether or not there's going to be a home for the people that want one or the other. It was kind of fast.
What the thing that I don't understand about that is, so there are people that I assumed saw the game and they were like, oh, it's a PvE game, a new PvE game to play. And then they switched it to PvEVP and made it an extraction shooter. So if you weren't down for that, why buy the game? If you really don't like extraction shooters and you really don't like the style of gameplay where you can just kill anybody in the game, even when somebody's minding their own business, why play the game? Why buy the game? Why get into the game? How do you get an extraction shooter? How do you buy a game like this and then not understand what you're getting yourself into when you start up and you load into that map? How do you not know that somebody might come and try to end you? Like, you have weapons in the game for a reason. It's not just to fight off the Ark. It's to fight off other players if they decide to try to attack you.
Thing right now is the result in the community and the interactions you have with players is not at all the composition that I was expecting, and this is exactly what I'm talking about.
Don't shoot! Hey, don't shoot!
He's wearing the exact same thing I am. He's wearing the same backpack, the same clothes, and the same style of headwear I wear. He's just playing my character.
Check this out.
But yeah, this situation right here where everybody is just friendly in solos and hanging out, this makes sense, right? This makes sense, especially in this situation where everybody needs to extract. It's 5 people standing here, 5 solo players standing here waiting to extract and, you know, just getting out with their stuff. It just makes sense. But like, if you meet these 5 players out in the world in solos, they're all probably walking past each other, not doing anything, not saying anything. I do the same thing because it's like most of the time it's not worth trying to attack people and getting in a fight, especially if you're trying to get missions done or you're trying to do something specific while you're there. And let's say, for instance, you have the item that you need, right? If you have the item that you need, you don't need to try to attack anybody because you don't want to try to take a chance that either you'll get beaten by the other person or that you'll get attacked by the Ark, or somebody else runs up on you and attacks you because you're weakened after they've basically third-partied you, right? So it's not worth it sometimes, especially if you have so much in your bag and you can't even pick up any more than what you have, and then the other person didn't really have anything that you needed or anything that was worth like looting off him other than maybe guns. But even if you had picked up his guns and stuff and his bag and whatnot, you'd probably be over encumbered. You'd be walking really slow, and then you have to sit there and figure out, well, what do I want to keep? What do I want to, you know, was it worth it? Right? Was it worth it? And if the other person has like a crazy weapon or something like that, it might be worth it to take. Like if you see the weapon on his back, you're like, yo, if I can kill this guy, I can get his weapon. It might be worth it to attack the guy. You know what I'm saying? But like, otherwise, everybody's just chilling in solos. And people like it. Casual players like it. But then they get mad when somebody comes along and kills them in the world, right? And I'm not gonna lie, I get mad too, but I get mad more at the situation. Like if I get caught out in the world or in a hallway or something. Like the guy one time, I was walking through this area in a building, and there was a super dark room. I walked in the dark room, no flashlight on or nothing. Dude popped up from behind a desk or whatever and shotgunned me and then took me out. I was just like, you got it. You got it. Like, I was like, dang. I didn't expect that. But, like, people like him is what makes the game stay spicy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm close. I'm close. I feel like I'm close to wanting to start, like, some days, you know, I'm gonna just start attacking people. People not gonna like me. I attacked one person one time where I went into this place, attacked somebody. They were like, oh my God. And then I ran up to him. I don't know why this person didn't have any guns or ammo, but I went and I ran out of ammo too, right? I literally ran out of bullets. So I had nothing, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go attack this person with this pickaxe, and hopefully I win and can get some stuff off of him. And they're like, oh my God, this guy's an asshole. He just attacks and kills everybody. Little does this person know, I literally only ever attacked and was aggressive toward this one person. So, like, because I killed one person, they just assume that I go around killing everybody all the time, which is not the case. And I don't think that's the case for most of the people that go around killing people. Because if you're player killing, right, and you get a bunch of stuff, you're gonna go to the extract, and whoever's at the extract, I'm gonna be like, hey man, you trying to extract? Let's get out of here, right? I'm not gonna attack him because I don't want him to take all the stuff that I just got from the other guy. Yeah, see, in this situation right here, if dude was approaching me, see how dude was approaching? And I'm healing, he's approaching, I would have shot him. Maybe not, because I'm out in the open, I don't have anywhere to get cover. But if I had somewhere to get cover and he was approaching me, I would have shot him. And if he wouldn't have said nothing, I would have kept shooting. If he would have said something, then I would have stopped. That's the rules for me. I don't know, everybody else has different rules for themselves. Or maybe they don't have any rules. They just fly by the seat of their pants. Because there's been too many times where I've been like friendly to people.
Hello. You looking for mushrooms too? Nice. Good luck.
See, anytime you include incentive, which is loot gain that you can get, as well as pressure enforcing functions like extraction, risk of death, risk of losing everything, and also including open and available PvP between players, generally what you see is a pretty big grab bag of interactions between players, usually ranging from, you know, pleading, begging, trying to team up, a lot of carnage and destruction between players, just fighting each other, killing each other, camping each other, that sort of thing. But what's interesting as of right now, and you may have a different experience in your games, but at least for me in my games, I am getting about maybe 70 to 80% of my interactions.
He was about to get lasered.
Are all friendly, positive, don't shoot, hey man, we chill,
I also go along with the friendly thing because I don't want to be just the bad guy running around just killing everybody. Because also another thing that can come from that is everybody in the server just jumps you. Like I mean, maybe they wouldn't know because they're on different parts of the map that it was you that was going around like killing everybody. But like, it just seems like it's like if I go around killing everybody and then like everybody's like, oh, other thing is they'll see who I am after they die, right? And then they come to my stream and they're like, oh my God, you suck, man, blah blah. They can find me. They can find me. Maybe I should be doing that so that people can get mad and come to my stream and just, I don't know, trash talk me or whatever. Because they're like, come on, man, why'd you have to kill me, man? Why could you just be cool? It's like, because everybody is getting too comfortable in our creators. Too comfortable. An extraction shooter is supposed to feel tense, and solos doesn't feel tense. And I normally play solos in any extraction shooter I play. I normally will play solos, and this is the most chill and comfortable extraction shooter I've ever played in solos. Usually it's easier to play in squads because you have somebody with you to watch your back. You don't need anyone to watch your back damn near in solos. It does not feel as tense. I be running around out in the open not really caring about too much, which ends up making me drop my guard sometimes. And I've said I've gotta stick to my rules, because if I don't stick to my rules, then I'm gonna get caught lacking, and I can catch a lot of people lacking, but I just don't do it because there's no guarantee. I'm usually trying to do something, right? I'm usually trying to do a mission, or I'm trying to get certain parts, or I'm trying to like farm up certain things for weapons or whatever I'm doing, and I'll have a bunch of stuff in my bag that I'm like, all right, I'm about to go get out of here. But like I said, there's a time when you first enter a raid, especially if you have a free loadout, that you can be very aggressive, because the same thing happened in trios when me and my friends were playing the other night. We were playing and we all went in with a free loadout because I think we had just died. We just lost or something. So I was like, I'm going to go in free. And they both went in free loadout too. And I was like, all we got to do is win one fight. We win one fight, we back up. That's pretty much how it went. I think we walked through the map. We found a few things, found a sniper rifle. And then we saw a team, shot the team with the sniper rifle. They ran down to attack them. I'm looking over with the sniper rifle. And we just take this team out, take all their stuff. And we were just back at full capacity off a free loadout, and then we went to go extract. And then we took that loadout stuff and all the loot that we got, sold some of it, put some of it in the stash, went back in with the loadout that we got from the other guys, kept some of the other weapons and replaced them with some other stuff to not go back in too heavy. But like it made sense.
Chill, don't attack me, helping each other take down bots. You know, the footage you see here, I was farming some queen reactors for making legendary weapons, and a bunch of people just showed up and started shooting the queen. At no point did anyone shoot each other at all. Everyone was super helpful and happy to be a part of it. Even on night raid.
Because you know what would happen if there's a bunch of people around, right? If there's a bunch of people around and one guy starts shooting everybody else around is gonna just jump that guy. Like, it just wouldn't be smart unless that guy is like super sweaty. He's like, I'm gonna take them all down. Then you might have a problem. This dude's taking cover and he's like picking y'all apart one by one because y'all got too comfortable in a solo queue, and y'all don't really fight that much. But he be fighting all the time, and he take out like 4 or 5 people. Has the pick of all of your loot, right? Maybe he has a cloak to hide, get inside of the thing. Then he and then he takes out all the rest of the bots while he's taking cover, hiding in a building. That would be the other thing, yo. If they made buildings destructible, it would be so scary. It would, like, the bots would be even more scary if the buildings were destructible, because you wouldn't be able to hide in a building for that long. I was able to fight a leaper by myself by using a small building and then luring it over to the small building and fighting it out of the door. Which is not always going to be the case. If you get caught out in the open by one of these monsters, or one of these arc raiders, if you get caught out in the open by one of these arc bots, you're probably dead. Like a leaper or like a rocketeer, you're probably dead. If it's a couple of wasps, you might not be dead. Maybe if you could hit all your shots, you'll probably be fine.
where you would expect there to be more PvP going on. In solos, it's still incredibly friendly and amicable in most places. There are times where people will just blindly run by me in solos. They will
Too comfortable.
They'll just act like I'm an NPC or some bot, and the
Too
opportunities that I
comfortable
have to shoot them in the back of the head is so extreme and numerous that it's kind of bizarre that they have that kind of trust in a PvP game where they pay me no mind. They just run by and loot, and it's almost
it
like,
makes me
hey, if
want
I
to
die,
make the
they shoot me,
game better
whatever,
by
it is what it
attacking
is.
people like
Which is
that.
not what you'd normally get in a game like this. This is a PvEVP game, but there is a lot of PvP as well. And it is attracting a lot of people that come from games like PUBG or Fortnite or Escape from Tarkov or Hunt Showdown or whatever game you want to reference. A lot of those games are almost entirely PvP with minimal PvE elements involved whatsoever. So why is everyone so...
And it's funny because in Fortnite, I don't know about the other things, but in Fortnite, there's a lot of PvE stuff now, at least from what I can remember from the last time I played. There was a lot of PvE stuff in the map that you could fight. But people are still going to fight each other because that's the primary thing in the game is to be the last person standing. It's not to be the last couple of people standing. It's to be the last dude standing if you're playing solos. The last team, I guess it would be the last couple of people standing if you're a team. But what I'm saying is it's either the last team standing or the last person standing for battle royales, and it pushes you all together to make sure that you fight each other. In this game, you can sneak around and never interact with anybody, get all the stuff that you need, sneak around, hide from people, and then just go to an extraction and then get out. Or go to a hatch with a key and never have to even notify people that you're leaving. So, like, you know,
freaking friendly and safe in this game, and what's going on with the player base and how is this even happening in the first place? And by the way, just for my own information, type down below in the comments, what percentage you think you're getting in your games of people that are actually, trying to eliminate other players, shooting other players.
Very low percentage.
It's not like it's 100%.
I'm actually upset that it's so low of a percentage that people are attacking other people, because there's times where where I said my guard be down because everybody in the lobby that I walk past is like chill. I'm just like walking around I'm like shuffling back and forth about to dodge their shots, and they're like, "Oh, you chill, man?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm chill." And then I just go about my day, and then like I'm sitting in a window shooting a bot or something like that. Somebody walks up behind me in a building, and I turn around and see the dude standing in a doorway, and I'm like, "Hey!" And he just go bam, and I'm just like, "Oh!" I lost all my shield. I'm trying to get away, trying to pull my gun out, and then like he just shoots me down. And I'm just like, "Wait, man, what you doing?" And then like I'm just like, "Dang, man!" Like I just wasn't ready. It's like I could be that dude. I could be that dude that walks around and just shoots everybody, and nobody would be ready. Nobody would be ready. And people would be pleading and begging and calling you all types of names while you're holding down the knockout button. You're just like, man, why you had to go and do that? Man, it wasn't even no reason for you to really kill me. Boom. Knock him out.
There are plenty of times where I trust someone, I keep my eyes on them the whole time, and then they try to take a shot at me. But most of the time, it seems like I said, like 70 to 80% of the time, players don't even shoot at me at all or even pay me any mind, like I'm not even a threat. Now, there's a couple things to go over when we talk about this subject, because as far as the gameplay loop goes, PvP is actually an important aspect to a game like this as it's set up. This isn't a true PvE game, and so being able to eliminate other players, loot the loot that they have, is a big part of the experience and a part of the whole loop of Arc Raiders as a whole. The first aspect of that that's worth mentioning is the idea of scarcity of loot. And what I mean by this in regards to PvP is that it happens pretty often, especially when they have...
It ain't scarce enough because you can go find everything that you need most of the time, right? Like you go find everything that you need. Like it would be crazy. It's like, hey man, like I was looking for toasters the other night. So what if I just walked up to people and I was like, hey man, did you find any toasters? And if one of them says yes, then I just shoot him and then gut him down and then take his toasters. You know what I'm saying? Like that could be a thing that happens. So you gotta stay vigilant. Somebody asks you, did you find anything? Nah, I haven't seen any.
Staggered spawns. If you don't know this already, if you look at the top middle of the screen, you see that timer there. All the matches in the game, except for practice range, are 30 minutes. They start at 30 minutes, and it usually
I didn't know that.
15 seconds for you to load in, and then it'll say 29:45 on the timer. But not everyone in a match spawns at the very beginning. Meaning, some people spawn at 25 minutes or 20 minutes. I've even spawned into a night raid at 14 minutes remaining. That one is not typical. I've never had that happen again. That was one time. But I've had some runs where I spawn at like 19 minutes remaining or 18 minutes remaining. And this creates an interesting challenge because in this case, it's not like the loot is infinite. It's not like the loot is going to be instanced for every individual player. So if you spawn late into a topside raid, it gets kind of awkward because every POI you go to potentially could have all the loot already lifted and removed from that area, which means you're running through all the cabinets and drawers are open, all the boxes are breached, there's no loot laying on the ground, everything's empty. Then you go to the next POI.
So what does that mean? That means that it's like, those raiders over there are nice and plump for the picking. They're full of juicy loot pinatas. It's just, I'm gonna go hunt me some fat raiders. Like,
everything's empty. Now, usually that phenomenon in these kinds of games gets solved by PvP because it's a zero-sum game in most games, which means that when the loot is looted, you could just eliminate the other player that has the loot and take it for yourself. And that's part of that kind of carnivorous experience of, you know, take what you take, get what you get, and that's just the end.
Maybe they don't load enough people in.
That is kind of interesting.
That's the other thing. Maybe they don't load enough people in late enough into the game so that there's a bunch of people in the match that don't have anything to lose. Right? And you don't know, but the other thing is you also don't know who spawned in when. So you might run across somebody and see them running around, but you don't know if that person has been here the whole time or if they loaded in with you. Because if they loaded in with you, then they don't have anything. So if you go to kill them, they're just like, oh, they didn't have anything. But if they were a person that was already there, that is running across the little open field, and you take a shot at them and they're out in the open, you stitcher them down, and then you go over there, and then their whole bag is full with stuff. A couple of, like, maybe one or two pink things, a wolf pack grenade, some blues, anvil, a blue backpack. You know, they just got a bunch of stuff, and it's like, dang, thanks. Let me go extract.
As well, and let me know where your head is at on this one too. So there is actually some social pressure building up in Arc Raiders, usually in solo, some in duos, and a lot less in triples, in trios. Like the
I might have to be a villain, man. It's more interesting.
Squads, they tend to shoot at you a lot more, but still, it's still like 50%. Like half the time, they're like, "Hey, we're chill. Don't shoot. I'm just here to loot," that sort of thing. But the social pressure is building.
I might walk around and just scare people and see if they fight me or run away. I might just do that. I might go in with a free loadout and just find people and just be like, "Hey there, how you doing? Bag's looking pretty full. You need me to carry some of that for you?" And just saying wild stuff, and then just pulling my weapon out, just standing in the doorway. You ever heard of loot lust? Like just saying random things to people and see what happens.
Up in such a way that, especially when I'm playing solo, I almost feel like a jerk for shooting people.
Yeah.
Because the predominant mentality in Arc Raiders is, I just am here for the loot. I'm here to fight the robots. I don't want to shoot any players. And it gets to the point that there are so many friendly, helpful people that if you want the carnage, you want blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne, and you want to fight everyone, you almost feel like you're going to an elementary school and kicking children. Like, you're such a jerk for doing it because everyone else wants to be friendly.
That's
Almost
so
like you're
true.
the bad guy for playing the PvP portion of the game, which in my opinion is really bizarre. These kind of games don't end up this way at all. Now, this could mean that at some point as they review the data and see how people are playing and that sort of thing, decide that they might end up doing a PvE only mode. I think in general, as a developer,
I paused the recording when I meant to pause the video, but no.
and see how people are playing and that sort of thing, decide that they might end up doing a PvE only mode.
But no,
I think in
yeah,
general,
no.
as a developer, you want to try and resist splitting your queues as much as possible.
But the thing is that people keep saying that, but the people that are playing the game, have they heard that they said that they played it as a PvE only game and they were like, this game isn't fun enough. That's why they added the PvP portion of the game and the fact that it's an extraction shooter now and not just we run around and just fight robots all day. You know what I mean? Like I'm curious as to what the previous game loop was, because if there was no extraction shooter part and there was no PvP, was it just 4 people load into a map and you just shoot bots, or was it supposed to be kind of like Helldivers? Because like Helldivers is cool, but I'm so confused. And I know a lot of people have fun with Helldivers, and I've played Helldivers too. And it's fun when you're playing with friends, but half the time I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. And while your actions have an effect on what happens in the world or whatever, to me, I feel like when I'm playing by myself or I load in with random other people, I feel like I don't really affect anything for the amount of stuff that you need to do and the amount of enemies that you need to kill and stuff. It doesn't feel, and it's not because I want there to be PvP in Helldivers 2. It's just that it doesn't seem to me straightforward what I'm supposed to be doing or what I'm supposed to be striving for. Like what are like, I guess my small goals. Like when I first dropped into the game, I played with some friends and they went basically straight to one of the hardest difficulties, right? Not Helldiver mode, or it was like something higher than hard, I think, but it was just like they took me straight there and it was tough. And I was just like, what am I supposed to be like doing that is making a big impact and showing and making me feel like I'm doing something that matters? I never caught on with Helldivers 2, right? I want to, trust me, I've wanted to, because I think it's a cool game. I just never caught on. But with this game, I've caught on because I've played other extraction shooters. But the problem with me is that like I want to do more PvP stuff. But I'm such a good guy that I don't want to feel like a jerk just rampaging people for no reason. Like if I'm going to do it, it has to be like for content or something, or it has to be for entertainment and like to do something different and to give me a reason, like to be like, okay, I'm going to go into these next few raids, or on Fridays, I'm going to do nothing but make people's lives hell. Like, I'm just going to grief people. I'm going to go into solos and I'm going to show them that they need to stay vigilant, right? Like just stuff like that, where it's just like even if I was not streaming or not making a video about it, I feel like I would have to do that at some point, because there was a point in time in this game where, or right after I think I leveled up all of my stuff to 2. I leveled up all of my workshops to 2, and I was like, all right, well, what do I do now? And it's like, of course, there's a bunch of stuff to do. There's missions to do. There's some others. You know, there's the level 3 for your workshops and stuff. There's level 3. There's a bunch of other stuff to do, right? But sometimes I just want to chill and do something simple as a goal, right? I don't want to have to always chase the big goal. So I usually make up goals for myself in extraction shooters when I'll go solo, where it's like in something like I never really played Tarkov online. I've only ever played like single player Tarkov, like literally the mod. And then I've played the Cycle Frontier, but in like the Cycle Frontier, I rarely did the missions, right? I usually would go into maps solo, and I would get matched with people who are on squads or people going in as duos, and I would just sneak around the map, and it felt so tense because I'm like, if I get caught by myself, somebody in a duo or a squad is definitely going to kill me. They're definitely going to try to attack me, and I'm going to have to try to defend myself and hope that I can come out on top. But I don't fight that often, so I'm not going to be that good at it, right? So, and it's like, do I just attack people? Do I just go into the map and attack people? Because I don't know if they have like multiple people with them. I know some people might be as solos or whatever that I attack, but like, I most of the time would just sneak around and try not to be seen or heard and just get stuff and get out. But in Arc Raiders, when I go into solo queue, I can walk around freely, run around, do whatever I want, pry open boxes, be loud as I want, and not really have to care. It starts to get a little bland, you know? You gotta spice things up. So I'm like, maybe I gotta go spice things up and help other people realize that they gotta stay on their toes, man. They gotta keep their guard up. They can't just be walking around here all willy-nilly like no one's gonna ever bother them ever, and they're just gonna just loot for free and get all the things they need with no problem without sneaking around. Come on now. I gotta start attacking people that are breaching things. I gotta start doing things to people when they're vulnerable, so they can be like, you know what? I need to look around while I'm doing this, make sure nobody runs up on me. I need to be corrupting people into helping them structure their rules for engagement. You know?
Because the more people are in a queue, the better the matchmaker can do, like the better job that it can actually accomplish, but also allows the match time to be lower, and it just makes sure they're popping regularly and people are getting into matches that are really well made and well balanced for what you're looking for. So, you know, when you start splitting your queues, if you have a PvE queue and then you try to split that into, you know, singles, duos, and triples, then you have a PvP queue and you split that into singles, duos, and triples, it starts to get very fragmented, and the smaller those queues get, the more likely it is that a single solo player will go up against a group or squad.
I don't have any problem with that. I don't have any problem with the matchmaker putting you in a lobby with, like, say for instance, let's say sometimes you'll be in a lobby. Sometimes duos and singles will be in lobbies, most likely together, right? Maybe you might find a trio here and there, right? Where it's like a trio here and there, some duos, and some people who are going solo, right? And then sometimes you'll be in a solo queue with it where it's like a bunch of solo players and some of them are duos, right? Because you can do that in this type of game, because it could be two solo players, or, you know, maybe a couple of solo players that get together and make a trio. Solo players get together and make like a 5-stack, right? And they're running around together, and then they see another team, two duo teams, and they're 5 versus 2 versus 2. Like, you can do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't mind it being mixed up that way. Even if people were super aggressive and they wanted to be out to kill everybody, as a solo player, you can still fight a duo. You can still fight a trio. You may not win all the time, but if you're good at like taking cover and using utility and all that kind of stuff, you can still fight a duo or a trio and still come out on top. Because what I learned about like Fortnite is that when usually I feel like most of the people who are not that good at the game play in squads. Most of the people, not then everybody is like that, but like a lot of the people who are not that good or who are not sweaty, quote unquote sweaty. I don't even like necessarily using that word, but y'all know what that means. So, you know, sweaty players don't play in groups, right? They usually play solo. So like if a solo player goes into a squads match, he's going to have an easier time beating the squads because the squads are not that good at the game usually. But if you go into a solo queue as a player that is not that good, then you're going to have a hard time because people are going to shit on you, bro. But in this game, it's the opposite. All of these sweats are in groups, and all of the chill guys are in solos.
Inside of a match. But honestly, on this issue, I can actually see both sides. I get the idea that people just, you know, there's a lot of things to get, right? You have to go get your rusted gears, and you have to go upgrade all your benches, and you have to go get all your, you know, sentinel cores and snitch cores, and you got to go get your bombardier cores and rocketeer cores, and you got to go kill your queen.
But and this is the thing, and it's so easy in solo queue to get most of that stuff. You just got to kill the thing, right? You just got to kill the arc, or you just got to go to the right place and farm the area over and over again to get the stuff you need, right? It's not really that hard. But if people were more vicious, if there were more vicious players, it would be scarier to get those things. It would be harder to get those things. And I think I don't know, man. I just don't understand the players who come to their first extraction shooter game in Arc Raiders in a PvPvE game, PvEVP game, and other ways probably fine too, but they come to a game like this where there's open PvP in the game, and then surprised they are when someone kills them and takes their stuff. That has been what extraction shooters are all along. So to be mad at somebody because they caught you lacking in a building and took all your stuff is kind of crazy. That's the game. That's the game. Will you run into friendly players who want to work together because maybe y'all are not as good and they're just like, all right, well, let's watch each other's back because we're not that good. We can try to fight off any vicious players, you know, any sweats that show up. We could try to fight them off, you know. If it's 4 of us and 1 of him, he might not be able to take us all out, but he might. So you know what I'm saying? So it's just, that's the type of game this is. And to not know what you're getting yourself into after spending the $40 to get into the game is crazy to me.
And do the harvester and try to get all your gear and loot. Then you have a special key that opens a special dungeon inside of a room or building on a night raid where you want to go see if it drops really good, you know, epic level loot that you're trying to farm in part of that. And so if you feel like you can be demolished by another player that's sitting around a corner, a la games like Tarkov, where the pacing is much slower and people are a lot more methodical in how they play, that can totally throw a lot of people off in their experience, especially if there's someone that just is playing for their own subjective enjoyment. There are people that get off of work and they just want to farm and you know, get loot.
But why play this game Like, that's the part I don't understand. Why? Because I do the same thing. I get off work, come home, make some videos, play the game, play this game, but I know what I'm in for, right? I know what I'm in for. But other people bought this game as their extraction shooter, and they're like, oh, this game looks cool. I get to run around and loot, and everybody's friendly. But that's not every game. And that's not always going to be your experience. Knowing that you can be attacked and have your things stolen, you know this, but you keep booting up the game. And then you get upset when somebody throws a wrench in your plans because you were being too friendly and too comfortable in a game where people can literally rob you.
And see what they can do in the extraction game, and they don't want to be attacked. Now, you still have the mixture of players that you would expect. There are still people that will camp inside of the extraction, wait for people to loot all the loot, and then try.
I've actually never ran into somebody who was camping in extraction to try to kill the person extracting. Now, the thing that happens is, it's not people are camping the extract. It's that they are on their way to the extract because they hear it go off. And they may not even be there necessarily to kill the other person most of the time. They're just on their way there, and they just happen to be there, or they're sitting around. Because I go hit the extract button, and I go hide in a bush. And I don't hide in a bush to kill the person that's trying to run onto there. Sometimes I'll wait longer if I think I hear somebody, because I might not trust that they're not going to try to shoot me. So I wait for them to run into the extract and start hitting the button. And then I run up to the extract as I think that they're pressing the button, and I just dive on and let them push the door shut. I won't shoot them or anything. I just wait for them to push the button, and I dive on and extract. Like, that's been a tactic. Where it's like, because there's going to be somebody else coming there that wants to extract. So I just hide in the bush sometimes. Especially if I have some important stuff. I usually might not just automatically run to the extract. I just wait. And somebody else runs to the extract and they get on the button. Then I just go dive on. I walk up slowly. Doors start to close. Run up, dive in. And I'm just standing there like, yo, what's up?
To eliminate them when they get there, take all the loot for themselves, and instantly extract. There are still people that do the Tarkov style where they literally turn into a ghost. Like, I don't know how Tarkov players have the patience to slow crawl their way through one building over the course of like 20 minutes, just peeking.
Because you have and I don't play Tarkov, but I've played other games, like I've played Cycle Frontier, and it was the same thing. You have a bunch of loot on you, and you spend a lot of time in there looting and making and listening for other players, and listening for footsteps, and listening for people talking, and listening, right? You spend a lot of time being very careful, especially as a solo player. A solo player is way more methodical than somebody who plays most of the time with a team. So when you're with a team, if you notice, teams move around quickly. They move around together in a pack, and they move quickly. They don't really care about how much noise they make. They're just making noise all over the place. It doesn't matter because they feel safe because they got people watching their back. They got people that they can trust to fight if it comes up, right? And especially if they are all talking on like Discord or something like that, where it's like, oh, you know, we're talking to each other, open mic, and it's like, oh, there's a dude over here, right? There's a dude right there. He's running up on you, right? Watch out for that guy. You know what I'm saying? So. But when you're solo, you have to you're your own comms. Like you have to listen out for things. You have to listen out for enemies, footsteps. You must stay vigilant, right? So then you have to sit around, and then the more stuff you get, and the more stuff you're like, okay, I need to get out of here. I want to get to the extract, but I don't want to draw a lot of attention, and I don't want to make a shitload of noise by like running around the whole time. There's going to be times where you do make those mad sprints or whatever, but for most of the time you're creeping around and being very slow, methodical, because you want to make sure that you can hear somebody else before they hear you, in case that you have the upper hand, right? So you start to get the patience, because it's like, well, I'd rather be patient and move slowly and carefully and take 20 minutes to get through this area, or 15 or whatever it is, and eventually make it out, rather than running around getting all the stuff that I need and then, you know, getting shot in the back of the head because you were running across this area and a dude heard you clip clop 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 and all around the map, and he was like, oh, I'll just take this guy out, boom, you're dead. Now you've wasted all that time. But in this game, you don't have to really do all that. You could just sprint around in solos and arc raiders. Like I said, I'm not really putting arc raiders down. It's not necessarily arc raiders' fault, but like everybody who's playing in solos, they're like, I just want to get my loot. I'm friendly. I'm not gonna hurt you. And I do the same thing, but it's just like I'm like I need to do something about this. I need to make the game spicy. They too comfortable.
Like it's the end of the world. Like that tension is sometimes part of Arc Raiders, but Arc Raiders is a lot more casual in many regards. And it seems to me that at least the current standing for Arc Raiders is it has brought in several different gaming audiences together. We talked about this before the game launched, but it's basically a game.
Which is why you cannot have a PvP only mode, because the one mode was able to bring all these people together. Now, there may be people that only like playing the PvE, and there may be people that like doing a lot of PvP, and there are people that like both, right? But everybody who's playing the game needs to understand what they've gotten themselves into and not ask for their own side of the game. PvP doesn't need a team deathmatch so that they can get off work and just only play team deathmatch all day, or only play the PvP mode where there's just tons of players and they're just all shooting each other and getting points and taking each other's loot. Even though it sounds cool, but they don't need to do that. They don't need a PvE only mode where you don't have to worry about anything and everybody's neighborly and thumbs upping each other and dancing together. They don't need that. If they do have something like that, it has to be completely different than what the game is. So it's like a side thing that you can do, but it doesn't really affect how you farm up for items and stuff like that, right? Like, you don't want to make something where people are going to spend a lot of time in that mode. But then also it's like, well, if they're not going to spend a lot of time in that mode, then why even make the mode? Like, you know what I'm saying? If you don't want them to spend the time in there, you want everybody to spend the time in the one mode that exists in the game where everybody is together, all the different styles of player are together, and they all got to deal with each other. That's the way this game works.
Game that tries to merge different circles into a Venn diagram, right? You have your hardcore PvP extraction players, you have your hardcore PvE survival wave-based players, and you have the mixture that like the difference between the two, and you also have people that are just kind of along for the ride. They just like the uniqueness that Arc Raiders is. Sometimes you get shot in the back of the head, sometimes you team up with someone and they help you complete a quest, or they drop an item for you. I carried defibrillators on me all the time in case
I do not on purpose. I do not want to have to make the decision to get somebody back up. I don't want that decision. So I don't only carry defibrillators when I'm playing with friends or I'm playing in a team. If I queue up in a squad, then I carry a defibrillator. I do not carry defibrillators on me if I'm playing solo, because I'm not bringing nobody back. If you go down and I'm near you, I don't have no defibrillators. My bad, man. I ain't got no defibrillators. He's gonna go down even if I didn't kill him, and I'm taking his stuff. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not giving myself the option to get somebody up off the ground. I'm just not doing it. And I can't use it on myself. So I'm not carrying them with me when I'm playing solo.
curious on proximity chat and I want to res them if they got killed by Ark. They
nope.
decided to shoot me. But personally, I'm very curious to see where the game goes from here. Do they try to make modes for people that fit those aspects, or do they just allow the social contract to evolve and change over time?
That is so much a better idea. Allow the game to evolve how it's going to evolve, and not split everything and force it to be something that it's not. Because once you make all these other modes, it's going to dilute the game
as time goes on. And I'll be honest, it's not always exactly what I want, and maybe that's part of the magical formula. But there are times where, you know, I'm just trying to open a key card inside of a night raid, or I'm looking for a queen core or queen reactor, and I really don't want someone to camp me while I'm fighting a giant queen. But the reverse is always true too. Like, sometimes I just want good old fashioned battle, just actual wars, combat.
Like, I be wanting people to attack me so that I can fight them. Like, I be wanting people to attack me so I can fight them, so I can have a reason, right? Because there's so much really good, like, loot. Like, there's, you know, you got your epics and your legendary, like, weapons and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, what's good, all these legendary weapons, if all of them are not good against Ark, right? All of them are not good against Ark. Some of them are really good against raiders, right? And what is the fun in having all these guns that are good for fighting raiders if you never fight any raiders, if you never gun down some raiders? You know what I mean? Like, what is the loot doesn't feel as juicy and good if I'm not worried about somebody prying it from my cold dead fingers and putting me out of my misery and sending me back to the Speranza with nothing but what's in my safe pocket, if I even have a safe pocket and I didn't go with a free loadout or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is where there's the tension has to be in the extraction shooter. That's what I didn't want them to do. I didn't want them to make an extraction shooter. I didn't want this extraction shooter to be so, like, to have no tension. Every extraction shooter I've played has been so tense. And sometimes it's tense without you even knowing if anybody is there. There have been times where I've been playing the Psycho Frontier, and it's crazy because not a lot of people played that game, or not a lot of people were playing it when I was playing it. So I'm almost sure that sometimes I was loading into maps where there was probably maybe not anybody else, right? And the fact that you don't know for sure, because if you're loading into solos and I'm sneaking around and I don't want to be heard, maybe there's at least 3 or 4 other people that are sneaking around that don't want to be heard, right? Who's to say, right? And in that game, you were able to leave and go and leave as you please, right? So, like, you can, you know, loot up and then leave, and you could stay there for a really long time. Like, it was way more than 30 minutes. It was, I don't remember what it was, but, like, the storm would come through, right? There would be a storm that would come through, like the electrical storm that they have, I guess, in this game, in Ark Raiders, or nighttime in Ark Raiders, like how, but it was dynamic. So you could be on the map already. It's daytime out, and then the storm would come through, and if you didn't get to an extraction by the time the storm came, you would just be down on the planet. You would not be able to extract during the storm, and during the storm, lightning looked for players. So if you saw lightning strike in the distance, there's most likely a player there somewhere. Lightning did strike, you know, I think in random places, but it would always try to strike a player. So you had to get inside and make sure you're inside. Everything turned really, really dark, and you would have to survive the storm. Or you could go outside and be out in the open and go look for things that only existed during the storm for you to loot, like certain charged up, like mushrooms or something like that. There were certain things that you could only get during the storm, so you had to stay there for the duration of the storm. And then when the storm was over, you would be able to extract again and then you would start seeing other people coming down at the beginning of the when the storm was over, or the beginning of the, I would say the beginning of the day, but like after the storm was over, you would start to see, you know, ships come down with more people in the distance. So it's like, all right, I need to get to my extract so I can get out of here. There's other people coming down. And that was like the best time to extract, is like right after a storm, because most of the time people would leave before the storm. So you would probably be down there either you're by yourself or maybe one or two other people. Who knows? But you didn't know who was around. And it was so tense that you could be the only one on the map, but it would still feel tense, and you would be having to look over your shoulder all the time because you don't know who's there.
Chaos. I want to be shot from every angle, have someone try to flank me, someone sneak up on me, someone try to take my loot. I want that blood for the blood god, skull for the skull throne, chaos, just combat. And there are a lot of times, especially in solo mode, where I feel like I'm heavily incentivized not to. Like if I shoot someone, I'm the jerk. I'm the one that's ruining the game for them, even though the PvP aspect is built into the game.
It's like it's the human nature. It's like your good nature as a human being, right? It shows that most of the gaming community, I think, is friendly and welcoming, right? Most of the time, right? If you give them the opportunity to be friendly and welcoming, that they will be that. There's, you know, still COD people talk shit all the time in Call of Duty, but it's just like, that's it. It's supposed to be that. Like, it's just, that's the way it is. That's the type of environment it is. It's a PvP environment. You play a PvP environment game. That's what it is. You don't get the option to be super friendly with everybody in like Call of Duty. I mean, I guess your own team, but most of the people are against their own team because they're like, oh my God, my teammate's not carrying his own weight, blah, 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 right? And so they'll get mad at their own teammate for not carrying their own weight or having enough points. And then, you know, they're mad at the other team because the other team's not playing how they want them to play. And they're like, oh, this guy's trash. Like, there's a lot of trash talk that goes on. But in Arc Raiders, it gives you the option to be friendly to people because they know that they're trying to do missions. They're trying to get their own stuff. And they're just like, oh, man, I'm not going to mess with you. I know how hard it is out here to get the things that you need to get to finish these missions. So I don't want to make it any harder for you because I don't want people to make it harder for me. But you don't realize that when you lose that aspect of people being a scumbag and taking your stuff, it dilutes the feeling of getting the loot a little more, right? Because it's like, now I'm just walking around picking stuff up, and it's like, oh yeah, I found a toaster. I got to get back with these 3 toasters, so you know. But now it's like, oh, I'm walking around, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go look for toasters. I'll see you around, man. Thanks for not shooting me. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I'm expecting to grab the toasters, and then somebody's coming upstairs and just like, your toasters are mine.
Overall. So I'm curious how the community will continue to develop. This is a very, unusual situation to be a part of in a game like this, where everyone is generally happy and friendly and supportive. You even have plenty of community posts like this one saying, hey, I tried
being the shoot on sight guy.
being the shoot on sight guy. I saw a guy, shot him, and his response was, why, dude? Why did you shoot me?
People be begging for their lives, dog. The other day, I was sitting there thinking there was a mission I had, and it was like, do damage to raiders with heavy ammo, and I was like, I'm about to just go into solos and be like, hey man, listen, I need to ask you a question. I need to shoot you with a Pharaoh one time. I'll give you shields and some bandages, but I just need to shoot you one time. And then in my head, I was like, they'll probably let me do it. They'll probably just let me do it. I was like, all right, man, go ahead. Put one right there. I shoot him. I give him his bandages or whatever. Like, I didn't do it, but I could probably do it. That's how friendly people are. They're just like, go ahead, man. Go ahead and shoot me.
He shot another guy and it says, dude, I'm just trying to do a quest. Leave me alone. And he shot another person. That person said, WTF, bro? Friendly, why are you shooting me? Obviously, you could just, you know, disregard all of this and do whatever you want. The game allows PvP. The game allows PvE. If you want to be friendly and helpful and team up with people, that's great. If you want to shoot people, that is part of the rules and the ecosystem that has been built by Arc Raiders. So you're not really, like, there's no punishment for doing that other than feeling bad. Conscience at all. And you have the good guys that are just out there to vibe, people that like play what this person's calling the solo sheriff life, jump in and just help people with Arc. So actually, like, they go investigate, they res people, they shoot robots, they drop people, they help people do quests and things like that. Just like a
that's
nice
a cool thing. That's a
goes
cool
around
thing to do.
outside
That's an
people,
interesting
other
thing to
raiders get
do.
what they're looking for. You have these posts that are basically like, hey, I hear someone say don't shoot, and I didn't even know they were there at all, and I'm scared of fighting other players anyway, so I agree, even though I had no intention of fighting anyways. And of course, you have the opposite too, like this clip posted by Little Bear 01, where he was knocked by Arc, it seems like. He goes into the extraction, gets up onto the terminal, and to me, this is probably the most scummy behavior that we have in Arc Raiders right now. Someone walks in, sees that they're downed, and, you know, destroys them before the extraction happens. I think this is the worst. Because in that case, you don't have time to loot them anyways. You're literally, the only thing you're doing is denying someone else.
That's the other thing, is that you have no reason to shoot somebody once the thing is extracting. It's like, you're not gonna loot them. You just killed the guy just so he couldn't get his stuff. That's like, yeah, at the same time, it's like, oh yeah, you wanna, but it's like, it's still stay vigilant. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was down. He wasn't even able to defend it. But it's just like, you didn't even get anything for that. Like, you didn't even get my guy's stuff. You just extracted. You just extracted while killing the guy. He couldn't even hurt you. Like, what was the point? There was no point. He's like, I want a reason to fight somebody. But if I'm going to shoot somebody for no reason, it gotta be away from the extraction or in a somewhere where I could like loot his body, not in the extraction thing as the doors are going up and then I just kill the guy before it extracts. That's so stupid. That's the worst one.
Loot. And so I think that there are definitely, you know, there's tiers to the amount of griefing in PvP that people try to do. Obviously, you know, you see someone from a distance on a night raid and you shoot them. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Some people may disagree, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
There's definitely not.
Designed. But I would say that if someone's inside the extraction and the doors are closing and you kill them anyway, all you're doing is just denying them loot.
That's actually the only form of griefing that is dumb. Like, you don't even get like some crazy reward for doing it. Now, if there was a mission that said kill someone while they're standing in the extract, sure. You still don't even get their stuff, but if it was your mission, to the villain mission or something, cool. Maybe they could have they could induce this type of thing with good and evil in this game. I just thought of this. Now, I don't know how it would implement it perfectly, but they could have like Paragon type of thing where it's just like you can either go down the evil path or the good path. And depending on what your missions were, your missions would be like things like attacking raiders, right? Or if you were like on the good side, it would be like assisting raiders in doing things or healing somebody, or maybe like they have like some type of system where you can agree to team up with another player, and if you team up with another player, it puts them basically on your team, kind of like a temporary team. Like you wouldn't extract with them, but you would be on like a temporary team with them or something like that, and you could assist other players in doing missions. And if you were on their team when you were doing their missions, and getting them done, or killing Arc when you're on somebody else's team, would put you on the good side. But then the bad side would be like do damage to raiders, kill raiders and take their loot, get a piece of epic loot from another raider, right? So you would have these people that are going down the evil path and have like an evil skill tree, and then a good path and a good skill tree. I think that would be cool. That would be built into this existing game and make the dynamic more tense and scary, because now you would have people who are like solo players maybe that are not going to be teaming up with people who are going down the evil path, or maybe in order to go down the evil path you can't team up with people in raid. Like if you go in solo, you're in solo. If you go in with someone else, that's the only person that you can go at, the only time you can go in with that person, right? Maybe, and then, you know, not keeping it too separate where like you know, if your friend is good and you're evil, y'all can still go into a raid together and do stuff, but like you can like dip off and go do something and kill a guy or whatever, and then be like, yeah man, I just had to go handle something real quick, right? And but like stuff like that, like I feel like that would be a way to induce more tension and give people who want to fight some incentive. And then the people who are going, oh come on man, how come you shot me, and it'd be like, because it's my mission. Bang 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 bang.
It won't be yours anyway. There's no time to do it. So that is literally just vindictive for the reason that just being a jerk. But again, that's also just part of the Arc Raiders formula.
It's so hard to differentiate that stuff, right?
You're going to find someone that tries to shoot you in the back, or if you're going to find someone who doesn't, who just waves the...
It's so hard because like you want to be like, yeah man, don't be a jerk, but then it's like, but that's what this game is, man. Sometimes people are going to be a jerk. Like,
it says don't shoot, and you know, go on an adventure together, finding loot and finishing quests and things like that, and you have just so many different experiences with the arcs and everything else. But I'm curious, how has your experience been in Arc Raiders? Have you had mostly like, you know, griefing PvP focused people that camp extraction and try to steal from you? Have you had mostly friendly people that help you out? Do you play a lot of solos or duos or trios, and how has that been on your side of the experience?
I play mostly solo. I play trios with some friends sometimes. Sometimes I'll load up into missions, and I was thinking about just loading into missions and just helping people with squad fill or whatever. But for the most part, it's like in solos has been Candyland. It's just been you don't have any worries in solos, which is crazy to me. But in trios, it's TDM. Team deathmatch. Everybody's fighting. Nobody wants to talk, right? And I'm down for it because I'm like, I don't get to fight often because I play a lot of solos. So I ended up walking around just not killing people. And I'm like looking at a guy. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna get him. And then he goes, hey man, you chill? And I'm just like, yeah. And then I just go about my business.
Experience, but I would say I'm over 100 hours post-launch now, like just after launch, over 100 hours in the game already. And honestly, most, like I would say like 80% of my interactions in solo are incredibly friendly and incredibly positive, to the point where like I can't even bring myself to shoot them just because they're being so unbelievably nice about it. And usually I'm at the point now in solos where I just walk around, I treat everyone as hostile, but I let them take the first shot. So I will watch them like a hawk, and I'll stare at them. I've even had people that will like round the corner and look at me, and I'll just point my gun at them and wait until they say something. And if they say friendly, I'll put my gun down and go loot. And if they shoot at me, then I shoot back. I've even had people shoot me in the back, and then I turn around and take them out, and then I'll like defib them and walk away just to show them who's...
Oh my God, nah, bro. Like I'm waiting for it, man. I'm waiting for somebody to attack me, and I just take them out. Because I was like, one of my rules is going to be, I haven't even gotten to implement these rules yet, because like rarely am I attacked by anybody. But if they shoot me first, I'm not stopping until one of us is dead. Like, that's it. Like, if you attack me, I'm now hostile, and there's no talking to me to get me to stop. You chose this, and I've been waiting for this.
Boss and that sort of thing, but it's just been a crazy ride going through all the different experiences in this game, and it has created a very unique community and social contract that honestly doesn't happen all that much.
Yo, he carried 2 anvils.
So let me know what your experience has been and where your head is at on this particular topic down below. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm. them to help this video get seen by more people. And don't forget to check out my other channels for
Right.
other content and other stuff and other things.
Like, I'm gonna subscribe. All right, peace.